That's right, I'm coming, I'm right here. I'm trying to get here as fast as I can. That's right, how you doing this morning? Boop, boop. I am alive, and I hope you all too. If you're listening here this morning, I guess you are. So, what's happening in the world? Well, there's nothing like waking up and seeing that your country might be just going to use military force to go take Greenland because we need it. There's nothing like trying to get somebody to the table. You got to give President Trump credit. He starts out nicely. When nobody seems to be listening. He decides, well, I guess we just have to go ahead and get it. And since he's just come off such a successful military operation, shall we call it, in Venezuela, where they brought Maduro back here to the United States, I guess he just figures, why not? Why not? They need another mission. I think it could work. He's talking about spending money to buy it. They don't want to be bought. Well, then we'll just take it. I don't know how serious the man is, but he's certainly getting reaction around the world. He's also getting, I think they're deciding maybe we should come to the table. Maybe getting some money is better than no money for Greenland. How would you like to be Greenland, though? Well, we're okay with Denmark owning us. We're okay. Could be better, but we're okay. Yeah, but if America owns you, you'd be the land of the free. You'd be this, that, and the other. We'd make sure you got blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I find it entertaining. I don't see it as horrible. And I also, if you come to know President Donald Trump, he throws a lot of zingers out there to get one hook to hold. And if they came to the negotiation table, the bargaining table, I think that could be pretty interesting. And if they don't, well, then we've always got our military. I am being a little tongue-in-cheek here this morning, but that does seem the way it is headed at this moment. And now he's got everybody in his administration going, yeah, it could happen. It could happen. The only problem that I see that President Trump has, well, some people are going to say, and he's got a lot of problems. Well, he may, but he certainly has done a lot for our image on the international stage. And no doubt the Democrats are still going to try to tarnish him on our own American stage. And I find it, again, his tactics, if you just look at it, not as all serious, but if you just look at it as, wow, well, that's a good sparring point, you can see how Donald Trump got to be as successful as he was. He'd throw doubt in your mind about, you don't want to take this deal? Fine, I'll do this. You don't want to do this? Fine, I'll do this. And eventually, people came to the table and said, excuse me, I think I'd like to take that, $10 million for this piece of property and let you have it, and I'm out of here. May not make you the most loved person, but on the other hand, it certainly furthered his agenda when he was in business. And here he is today as head of the United States of America. And he is, in all sincerity, I believe, making America safe. Making America safe. So I think that we need to find a way to not go clutch the pearls and go, oh my God, we're going to war with Denmark. No, I think that is a very good negotiating technique, and we will just have to wait and see how all this comes together. Do you think I might have a point here? 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. Love to know that you're with us right here on WCRS on the A train, moving on, moving through, and just getting ready to see what the next, as Tim Walz's wife said, turn the page. Yes, we want to see what the next page is. This is like a novel that you just can't put down. Some people would say, Ann, it's a novel I just want to close the book on and don't want any part of. A lot of people, I'm sure, years from now, after you and I and so many others are already gone, will be sitting there saying, I hope they'll be saying, that Donald Trump positioned the United States of America for success in the future. I don't think we really want to be known as the bully country. I think we'd like to know that we had set up to be able to lead futuristically. And I really think that's what Donald Trump is trying to do. So let's talk about some of the other things that are in the news today. Yesterday, I had an excellent conversation with Senator Billy Garrett. That, of course, is on Facebook, and I would say by tomorrow should be on our website, WCRS1450am.net. It was the first interview of 2026. And we're just getting started, folks. We're just getting started. Excellent interview talking about all the different things that are coming down the pike as far as what is going to be happening in the legislative session. There's not really one thing that I can point to and say, oh, this is the issue. That's not one thing. I will say, though, there are a lot of good things. I think Senator Garrett has a good grasp on how he plans to fall together here. I'm telling you what, this isn't supposed to be happening till February or March, is it? Where you start having allergies and everything. Well, I certainly have a case of them right now. You go outside, you walk. Anyways, I'm sorry. But I hope you'll go back and listen to the interview, hear what he has to say. Earmarks, the budget process, how they're proceeding, what will actually be brought up. He is working on some bills. He wants to do a bill that will help mothers of preborns and newborns with all the services that are out there. They want an omnibusman for that. The election, of course, is this year. And, one of the things that I learned, and I'm not really going to get into it, is what a position. You can draw your own conclusions. What a position that a legislature can be put in with political pressure from all sides to, and I can't really say anything because I wasn't supposed to say anything, so I'm just going to leave it kind of out there. But the political pressure that one is in, that's why I'm not in politics, because I would not be good at that. I'd have to lay it out on the line. You know how I am. I just want to make sure that we all know exactly what's happening. So I'll leave it right there. But I would love for you to go back and watch it, listen to it. It's on our Facebook page, WCRS. Facebook page, WCRS Radio. You can just put that in. That'll come up. If you want to watch with me live, I would love for you to be live with us right now on the radio. Okay. So that's just a little bit about the interview. I actually am teasing you to go back and listen to it. It was a very, very, what I consider a very good interview. We answered a lot of questions. We talked about everything from medical marijuana to tort reform on liquor liability to, well, I can't remember what else, but we talked about it all. Anyway, so we talked about it all. So go back and watch it or listen to it. As I said, as of tomorrow, it should be on the website. If you don't like going on Facebook, you can go to WCRS1450am.net, and that should pop up right there. So we talked about earmarks, too. What is going to be the future of that? And I think you'd find that interesting to listen to, too. All right. So then, if that wasn't enough, yesterday, we had county council last night. Most interesting meeting. Not for the usual, a lot of stuff that they just go through the motions on and getting it done. But it was most interesting when they got to talking about Cobb Road. They had wanted to, there was a development that was looking at going in there, and it was, R1, I think it is R1, like a 15,000 square foot lot. They wanted to reduce it and put patio homes on it. And there was a lot of discussion about Cobb Road and the safety of Cobb Road and how adding all this in. Most impressive is that county council had, this was the final hearing on this. They'd had 2 hearings. This was the 3rd hearing. That they, many people spoke on it. Some of the things that I thought were interesting weren't necessarily about that development, but about what the heck is happening here in Greenwood. I'm not going to name names. If you want to watch it, you can go back and watch it. But there are some that are there every time there is a additional development that is looking to either increase, decrease, do whatever. Okay. There are 2 developments to talk about here. One was this one on Cobb Road, and one was on the south end of town at 246, both with 2 very different results. The Cobb Road one, we heard discussions about some of the builders who are coming here into town, and you would almost think they should be tarred and feathered out of Greenwood, South Carolina. I find it interesting that people think that county council can control every minutia of what happens when property is up for sale, is sold. I appreciate. I love all the back and forth and what is and what isn't. There is this one lady, short, red hair, will remain nameless for this discussion, who keeps coming up there saying, "What are we doing here? Where are the people coming from for these houses that you keep saying that we need?" And then she talks about the quality of the houses. And she talks about moving from a state that was a beautiful small town and how the county council or city council up there was doing the same thing. And now it's a terrible place. And she is warning them what could happen in Greenwood. Well, she is right. She is right. And I'm not making fun. I really think it is admirable that she's there and she's talking about it every time. And the question is, how many houses do we need? It was brought up how the development across from the high school, and I don't know whether this is true or not, I'm just repeating what was said at the meeting, that those houses across from the high school were, number one, not very well built. I think the term wavy vinyl, that's kind of scary right there, isn't it? And houses being built in 3 weeks, I mean, that's pretty scary right there. But that those actually, they aren't even able to sell them right. Sell them. The market is not good for those houses, and so therefore they're having to lease to own. I don't know whether any of it's true. That's not my point here. My point is that the public has been engaged at county council. And it has been noticed, the type of houses that are being built. But here's one of the problems, folks. Can county council dictate what is built? Can they not only approve that, yes, you can build X amount of houses on this piece of property, on this piece of land? I think that is one of the questions. And I don't know, should the seller, here's the other side of the coin, should the seller of the property be dictated to make it impossible for him to sell it? That is the other question that is there. If you own a piece of property, should you be able to sell it? Well, I think yes. Should everybody around be able to dictate what exactly is built? Well, I don't think you can actually do that. Now, that's where you have the possibility to move. But, and that's why we have seen some shifts in everything, because people have not been happy. But I do agree, what the heck do we need all these houses for? Well, at the very end of the meeting, I don't actually remember who said it, there was a very good point that was made, that people are coming to Greenwood. Okay. People are coming to South Carolina. That is true. Yesterday, Billy told us that the growth in South Carolina, 7.75%, and the national average is a little over 3% as far as growth. So South Carolina, quote, is on fire. But that if we don't build houses in our county, like people would like us not to build houses, then people will build houses in the adjacent counties, and they will get the tax revenue. And so therefore they may come into Greenwood County to work, but they will leave and go back to another county and pay taxes. So that is something to consider, and probably explains a little bit better where county council is coming from when they discuss whether to approve or disapprove a development. Now, the one on Cobb Road, after many eloquent speakers, some not so eloquent, but after quite a group of speakers, this was turned down. Basically, I think the biggest reason that it was turned down, it was left at the R1, which is a 15,000 square foot lot. Basically, it was turned down because of the traffic, as far as I can understand. They talked about how dangerous Cobb Road is as people come winding around there and on the wrong sides of the road and adding all this traffic and yada, yada, yada. But in the end, council did not pass that development or that change in zoning. So that leaves it at R1. Now, I got to bring this up. You know, Toby Chappell is my friend, and I got to bring this up. As he said in the meeting, if you were watching this, you'd see my face. If you're not watching it, you may not catch it. But Toby said he could be mistaken, but he doesn't think it is so. That was into whether they had discussed something on zoning, and they went back and found in the records. But Toby said he could be mistaken. I think that is a pivotal comment right here in 2026 that Toby said, Toby Chappell, our county manager, and if you look at my face, I'm having a little fun here this morning, that he could be mistaken. I was shocked to hear those words come out of his mouth because normally Toby feels that he is usually right. But he said he could be mistaken. So who knows? Maybe it actually is a new year in 2026. That's right. But he doesn't think so. I think they went back and found that Toby was right. So, of course, they had to find that Toby was right. But he did say those words, and I wrote them down explicitly to be able to tell you this morning. Could be mistaken were the words that came from Toby Chappell's lips to the cameras yesterday evening right there in County Council. And if Toby's listening this morning, I am just poking fun, just so you know. And when you come on the air, if you want to tell me you don't listen to my show, I'll get it. It's just turnabout is fair play. So there you go. All right, moving on here. Let's talk about the other interesting fact last night in the zoning part of the meeting. The development on the south end of town, 246 South. I think it is Heath. Is it Heath Davis? They talked about, again, little short lady with red hair, walked up to the podium. What the heck are we building here, and why do we need these houses? She is the bellwether light right there. Anyways, kudos to her. I appreciate the fact that she is out there doing this. All right, now, on the south end of town, there was a lot of discussion. It was rather interesting because it was a totally different type of discussion. One of the discussions about this piece of property where they actually in the end did approve this development is that, and I think many of us have said, why do we have to put everybody so tight right here in the north and the east and the west side of Greenwood, that the south side is a side that is open for development? Well, one of the reasons that they're, quote, supposedly, and I can only do what they are talking about, is the fact that that the water and the sewer and the gas and those type of things are not out to that property. Well, what we can say is that at this piece of property, it is ready. It is, I guess, infrastructure ready. I think more infrastructure is coming out there. They are going to build. It was interesting to hear the type of quality of homes that they're going to build. They will be brick homes, no wavy vinyl. It would be about a year or so in development. So it was, in the end, it passed, and so that development will be moving forward. And I think there was not really a lot of resistance to that one. And in the very end, as I said, they discussed, one of our council members, I just don't remember, it was either Robbie Templeton or Mr. Allison or Mark Allison were the ones that brought this point up, that if we do not build in Greenwood County, although finding the appropriate place to build in is the question, and that's why I think this south side location is so great, because it starts pushing stuff out that way, which means we might get a grocery store, Dollar General, and some of these other things out there that would be small businesses that would be good for the area. But the fact is, if you do not build homes in your own county, then people will build outside the county and the tax base will be going outside. So that is kind of the pressure point that county council is under. I mean, it's good to understand where they come from. They are not really, as though sometimes as it seems, willy-nilly just approving developments. So I thought you might find that part of it interesting. Other than that, I think that was the biggest part of that. Other than they did vote on a strategic plan for Greenwood County. How about that? They hired a company to help them do a strategic plan. They hope to have something ready by June to be able to present to the community as far as a strategic plan. I think that is one of the things that Kathy Miller has been pushing very hard for. If you come from a business background, it's hard to know what you will be where you're going if you don't have a plan, if you can't strategically say where you're going. So that's a little roundup on Greenwood County last night. I enjoyed watching it, and I love the comments. I am going to become someone that says, yes, I need to be watching to see who's there, the harbinger of, do we need these houses? And what are the quality of the houses also? What are the quality of the houses? And I think that is important too. But they didn't have any hesitancy to name some of the builders that were coming in here, trashing our community with crappy houses. Yes, I mean, it was all out. So if you really want to see what was going on, I think it's about the first part, maybe about 45 minutes in before they actually starts talking about that. So there you go. We also got to say that our county council and our city council people, they are in a tough position. So as far as they are charged with making these decisions, they do have to raise their hands for or against something, and they have to live with the consequences of their decision. So I think sometimes we need to give them a little grace about how they are charged with these decisions, whether it is a good or not good situation. They are the ones in the end. You and I can sit here and kibitz about it, but they are the ones in the end that have to say, we are going to vote for or we're going to vote against. So I just want to say that kudos to every county council member who raises their hand or on either for or against something. It's a tough job, and they get a lot of crap, which that reminds me, this is a good time to use this phrase. There's a new phrase out there, déjà vu. Have you heard this phrase? Déjà vu. When you feel like you have heard the same, I'll use the word crap. That's not the word they used, but the same crap before. Déjà vu. I kind of like it. I think it has a classy tone to it. So that's déjà vu. When you feel like you've heard the same crap before. You are listening to the I Love Ann Show. I am Ann Eller. If you'd like to comment about today's show, 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. Love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. So please let me know. I do want to bring up about the monks going through McCormick last night. They said they haven't had that many cars there since the gold rush. We didn't have cars back when we had the gold rush. So how does that sound? There were people everywhere, and it was quite an experience. I did talk to several people who had experienced it, and of course lots of comments on Facebook about the monks. The Buddhist monks walking through McCormick. They did have a stop. They had a meet and greet, and tons of people were there for that. I think that was pretty cool. I also find it interesting that some of the peoples comments about it was a unity walk, a walk for peace. And the fact that they are Buddhists and not Christians, how could people even support going out to this? Well, isn't that kind of closed-minded here, folks? That is the problem that we're having on college campuses. Why can't we support the fact that they are out there doing a walk for peace? Why can we not support the fact that they view life differently, but they are for a peaceable religion? Why do we have to say, oh my God, we can't have that coming through our town? Anyways, those are, it seems to me there is always some strife about crap, about deja vu. Wait, you're going to start using that word, deja vu. I've heard that before. Yes, you will be able to start using that word, and you'll have to think of me every time you hear it. I am not the originator of it, by the way. I just heard it and thought that I would share that with you right here on WCRS. All right, what else do we have here this morning? That's County Council wrapped up. We will have more. I think I've pretty much covered it pretty darn well for you here today. All right, I had a couple of other things that I wanted to share with you. And you know, when you put a comment on my Facebook page, I really love it. As long as it's positive. I'm just saying, no, I mean, put whatever you want. I'm a radio broadcaster. I can take it. But I do love getting all the positive comments. And I want to say, yesterday, a memory came up in my memories from Facebook yesterday, and it was with some pictures with the one and only Jim Bohannon. And I've got to say, I had to work very hard to get Jim Bohannon back early in my radio career. I think this is before 2010. He used to drive down from Washington, D.C. He and his wife had a place up outside in the mountains. Anyways. And he used to drive down, and he would be on another radio station, and I would see that his schedule, he was coming down. And so I started calling and saying, well, if he's coming to Greenville, it was in Greenville, to radio station XYZ, why can't he come over here? He says he likes to get out and see his broadcasters and whatnot, meet the station. He'll do any promos, anything that you want. And they said, he's not going to come over there, Ann. You know, it's an hour away, blah, 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 blah. And so, but I kept pushing as only Ann Eller can do. And eventually this man named Jim Bohannon walked through the doors of Sharp Facets Gallery and came in for an interview. And it was fantastic. It was fantastic. Number one, he couldn't believe somebody that had as little knowledge about radio could be as entertaining as I was. Well, let's just say that's what he said. Anyways, we became very good friends. You are listening to WCRS right here in Greenwood, South Carolina. We became very good friends. He would come to WCRS. We had some autograph signings. We had some articles in the paper about it. It was great. It was great. He asked me if I'd like to come up. I told him I was going to be in Washington. This actually was when Jeff Duncan was being sworn in. I think it was 2011. He asked me if I'd like to come up. I may have said, how about have me on your studio? Anyways, he asked me to come up, and I went on his show at midnight, and we've got pictures of me in the studio. We had a great conversation. I did this several times. The first time, oh my God, I was so nervous. Now, here I was on national radio with over 600 affiliates. How many millions of people were listening? The vision in my mind could only expanded by my nervousness. So we had a great conversation. We talked about stuff. Jeff was not there. He was back here in Greenwood. I had to save the recording that Jeff did of this. I didn't know how things were going to end, but I saved it just because this is kind of what Jeff said. Absolutely beautiful. And whoever is their engineer, we need that engineer. Your voice was pitch perfect. I'll never forget that. All right. At least I hope I don't forget it. If I do, I've still got it in my messages. Anyways. Got to the end. And Jim Bohannon says, he says, well, thank you. I think I had 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't know. We talked and everything. Anyways, he goes, gets me ready to go. And I said, Jim, can I say something? And he goes, sure, Ann. And I know he had interpretation in his voice as to what is this crazy lady going to say. And I said something to the effect, hi, y'all, or bye, y'all. Thanks for listening right here on the Jim Bohannon Show. I'm Ann Eller from WCRS in Greenwood, South Carolina. Well, the staff, Jim Bohannon, they lost it. And then I was out of there. I did get quite a few comments because there were people listening at midnight on radio across the board, commenting back here in Greenwood about that event. Anyways, he was a great friend. He became the voice of the radio when we did our old-time radio shows for the Soup Kitchen down there at the Greenwood Community Theater. He was a real supporter, a real friend, and I could count on him when I had a question on a difficult interview or how to approach something. He would always give me some tips. I remember I got the very first interview with sit-down interview now, but when Nikki Haley became governor. And I was concerned about that. And so I texted him and I said, how do I proceed with that? He proceeded to give me some tips. They worked like a charm. And Jim Bohannon died several years ago. A really terrific guy. A guy who had been in Vietnam, had a very high clearance in Vietnam. He was, what did he call himself? The militant something or other, militant. But it meant that he was on the side of what is right. And I used to always love, he says the American public always votes for paralysis. If we have a Republican president, we end up with a Democratic House and Senate, so that nothing ever really happens. And some of the things that he has said over time are absolutely true. He had a great ability to see what was happening, to analyze and see the future. And that is why that I will always miss Jim Bohannon as a great source, as my mentor. I don't think I could have done any better to have found somebody to give me some of the ins and outs of radio. So he's also the one who came up with the we'll talk about that another day. Anyways, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. We got a couple more things to talk about. I think I'm supposed to be on my notes here. Saw something here this morning as I was flipping through the news. Well, here's one. Let's see, what is this? Audrey Hepburn, one of my favorites. What does this say? Let's see if I can find it. There is, I love the I love quotes of the day. I love quotes in the day, and so I end up with quite a few of them coming through. Let's see what it says. What is her quote? Okay, come on in. Hurry up. Where is it? I haven't read other insightful quotes. As you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself, the other for helping others. How great is that? This is Audrey Hepburn. I believe in being strong when everything seems to be going wrong. Do you know what my high school quote was in my yearbook? Optimism is a mania, for all is going well when things are going badly. And here I am today at the ripe old age of blank, and I'm still practicing that. Oh, my goodness. I was looking for the quote. She said something about birthdays. She was another that really became, she was born in 1929 in Belgium, became a global icon with films like Roman Holiday and Breakfast at Tiffany's. She was Holly Golightly. She was her life off screen revealed her true wisdom, whether through humanitarian work with UNICEF or her candid reflections on life. Hepburn understood that success is fleeting unless paired with authenticity, empathy, and inner growth. What a great insight into someone. So I guess maybe what I will do is say, I wish I could find this quote. Here it is. Success is like reaching an important birthday and finding you're exactly the same. Yeah, it's just another day. It's deja vu. So there you go, folks. Hey, I'm Ann Eller. Don't forget to tune in this afternoon. Yesterday we had Senator Billy Garrett live on the radio, live on Facebook Live. You can go back and listen or watch that one. This afternoon we have Representative John McCravey giving his take on what this year's session of the House from the House side, what the legislature is going to be concentrating on, what he's going to be concentrating on, and how they can work together for the betterment of the people of South Carolina. I'm sure there is something else I am supposed to tell you, but I think that is it for today, folks. So this is WCRS Radio right here in Greenwood. If you have a comment or a question, don't hesitate to call or text 864-332-9355. The beauty of this new line is the fact that you can always leave a message. You just can call and leave a message, and it turns it into a text, which is great if we're communicating live on the air. So please write that down and use that for future reference. Also, the legacy line is still there, 864-229-7984. That's 864-229-7984. So please let us know if there's anything we can do, if there's any events and whatnot going on. Please let us know a lot about that. I love to be able to report on any of these things. Have a great day. This is WCRS Radio. Tune in this afternoon. We will be live at 5 right here on WCRS Radio with Representative John McCravey. Bye-bye, everybody. There is the curtain is down. The music. Cue the music, Ann. All right, I will. Bye-bye, everybody.